We go live.
We're live now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Suffern Central Board of Education meeting for May 5th, 2020. Let the record reflect that all board members are currently present via conference. The time is 7:52, and let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have to say, this is the second virtual meeting or third? But
Third.
The Pledge of Allegiance is certainly the most awkward part of the entire virtual meeting. Okay, so executive session, as we've done in the past, because of the different call-ins, we haven't announced the executive agenda prior to going into executive, so I'm going to read it now as we've done in the past so that it's in the record. So the chair will entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources, and school attorney, negotiations between the professional supervisory organization bargaining unit, negotiations with particular bargaining units, and negotiations of particular matters with the custodial unit and SEA. Reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources, and school attorney, update on medical examination of pedagogical employee 05052020, and reviewing with the acting superintendent of schools, assistant superintendent of human resources, and school attorney, 2 notice of claims filed by the Suffern Education Association against the Suffern Central School District. Do I have a motion for the executive?
Moved.
Who was first?
Angus.
All right, Mr. McKenzie, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Shapiro, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay. Minutes of the regular meeting from April 21st. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Mr. Drives me crazy.
It was me.
Was that Mr. McKenzie?
McKenzie.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Dr. Nickpon, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions?
Melissa should abstain. Was she?
Yeah, Melissa, you should abstain.
I'm trying to abstain.
Okay.
So Melissa abstains. Okay, 1.08, acting superintendent comments.
So tonight typically is one of our very celebratory nights. Typically, we honor our top 10% of the graduating class. We have a lovely reception with the students and their parents, and unfortunately, we're not able to do that because of the social distancing and gatherings we're not able to do. But it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Breen to speak, principal of Suffern High School, to speak and do a bit of a recognition of our top 10% during my comments. So, Mr. Breen.
Yep. So, do we want to start up the presentation at this point, or?
Sure, I am working on
Hi,
it.
Paul.
Hi, Pat. Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's great to see everybody. Good evening to our families who are viewing from home. We wish you were with us, but these are the circumstances. Before I begin, I'd like to thank the board and Ms. Weber for providing me with this opportunity to honor and recognize our top 10%, the class of 2020. It's always the kickoff to the celebrations of the senior class. And, you know, we're going to use every avenue we have to recognize our students during this difficult time. So on behalf of the faculty and administration of Suffern High School, I'd like to congratulate all these students being recognized this evening for your outstanding academic achievement. We're extremely proud of you, your perseverance, your dedication, your citizenship, and your commitment to scholarship over the past 4 years. We know you've worked very, very hard. To our students, again, every year I remind you to be mindful and grateful for the many sacrifices and support from those who've helped you along the way. Your parents, your grandparents, your family members, your mentors, your teachers, and even your friends. So it's now my honor to introduce you to these students through a slideshow, and I'll introduce a picture with their name and let you know where they are attending next year. And I thank them for sharing that information with both our guidance department and myself so we could prepare that for this evening. So in alphabetical order, we have Matthew Audie, who will be heading to Bowdoin College.
Yay!
We have Olivia Blau, attending the University of Delaware.
Yay!
Dennis Chen, attending Carnegie Mellon University.
Yay!
James Cunningham, Binghamton University.
Yay!
Ronald De Tierro, she'll be attending Johns Hopkins University. Brian Echeverria, Columbia University.
Woo!
Matthew Farrar, Binghamton University. Scott Fleischman, University of Maryland, in the Gemstone Honors Program. Harrison Gay, George Washington University. Emily Gurgis, she's still undecided at this time, but she will let me know. So congratulations, wherever you may go. Harley Gold, Binghamton University. Jason Gordon, Vassar College. Justin Jacob, Macaulay Honors College, City College of New York.
Wow.
Mohammed Jallo, University of Miami. Hannah J., the Rochester Institute of Technology. Julie Casday, Binghamton University.
Binghamton.
Martin Levine, Cornell University. Jack Linko, University of Delaware. Kira Lum, Union College, Albany Medical College in the 8-year program.
Wow.
Amala Matthew, Rutgers Honors College.
Wow.
Melissa Orlick, Rensselaer Polytechnic University. Paige Palmer, Clarkson University. Sophie Park, University of Michigan. Samantha Raybridge, North Carolina State University. Eric Rao, New York University. Patrick Rita, Northeastern University. Victoria Scarlett, Binghamton University. Luke Charchouch, University of Virginia. Owen Schwartz, University of Richmond. Misbah Sheikh, Barnard College. Andre Sanchescu, Stony Brook University. Riley Shu, Columbia University. And Shinyi Chu, University of Michigan. So those are the top 10% of the class of 2020. I congratulate them.
Great job.
Well done.
Well done. Well done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Before I close, I want to acknowledge and thank all the parents, congratulate them as well. This is certainly, a great achievement and one that we share in your pride. It's certainly an amazing list of colleges and universities. Several have expressed interest in going into the medical field, which I think is amazing, especially during these times. So we'll be in good hands in the future. I know that. And if I could just say, I know there's been a lot of concern around graduation. I know our seniors have lost a lot. This has been a very disappointing year for them and for all our students, but particularly them. But we've been working very hard on a graduation plan, one that I know will be a memorable experience for them and their families. And, I plan on sharing that tomorrow. And, I apologize if there's been a delay on it, but we want to make sure things are right before we, put it out there. We want to be able to deliver. So we will get that out there. And, this is the kickoff. This is when, we start recognizing our seniors. We have a lot of videos and virtual pieces planned for them this month and next month. So stay tuned. And thank you to the board for your support.
Thank you, Pat. Thanks, Pat. Congratulations to everybody. Great. Wow.
Okay, that's given the environment that we're in, it's not easy for anybody. And I think we all feel for all the students that are, really feel like they've had part of their senior years and part of their high school years or middle school years taken away from them. But, even these small gestures, I hope that they do translate, and I hope that they do mean something, because I think it means a lot to everybody. So, Lee, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, I'm good. I'll make a few comments in my closing comments, but just congratulations to the top 10%.
All right, great. Thank you. Okay. 1.09 is public participation. This is public participation on action items only. Now, as we have done in the past few meetings, we have asked the public to submit any statements or comments that they would have made in public, to submit those in writing to the district clerk prior to tonight, and we would read them aloud. So, Heather, I don't know if you have anything for this or not.
I don't.
No? Okay. Okay. Then we will move forward. Oh, look at that. Okay, so let's go to action items. This is action items 2.01 through 2.09. Is there anything that anyone wishes to pull at this time, short of a consent agenda? Nope. Okay.
I'd like to pull
Go ahead.
2.06.
2.06.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, so we will have a consent agenda. This will be for action items 2.01 through 2.05 and 2.07 through 2.09. Do I have a motion for this consent agenda?
Moved.
Mr. McKenzie? Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Second.
Dr. Nickbon? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay. 2.06, do I have a motion?
Moved.
Ms. Reamer, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McKenzie, discussion.
On 2.06, I know that there was discussion about a retirement incentive. I know that there were rumors circulating about it for a couple of years. This is going to save the school district money, which is a good thing. I just wanted to make sure that we are going to have attrition through the retirement incentive. So this is really a question for Lee Weber, that through this retirement incentive, at least some of these positions will not be filled.
Yes, that is the case. We anticipate that at least 2 and probably 3 of the positions will not need to be filled.
So there will be savings not only for the first year, but for years to come.
Correct.
So those positions, at least for 2 or 3 years or 4 years, will not be filled.
With the current enrollment, I don't see that they would ever be filled until an enrollment change comes along.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So for 2.06, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Let's move on to information items. 4.01, this is closure-related finances.
At our last meeting, I don't remember if it was during the meeting or during the budget workshop, but a question was posed to ask, that was asking about what we're saving, what are our extra expenses during this extended closure. So I've asked Mr. Steve Schleicher, Assistant Superintendent of Business, to address in particular those issues of what we're saving, what we're spending, and what's still unknown. So I turn it over to you, Mr. Schleicher.
Hi, thank you very much, Mrs. Weber. The savings right now, we're looking at approximately $580,000 in savings. Currently, we're looking on the transportation and BOCES, we're looking at about $155,000. Substitutes, we're looking at about $300,000. Overtime, we're looking at about $75,000, and security, we're looking at about $50,000. So right now, again, it's an approximate number of about $580,000 in savings. In expenditures, extra expenditures, things like gloves, masks, supplies, and equipment, we're looking at approximately $50,000 there. Worked on some numbers today for the transportation of food to our students. We started out, as you know, every day of the week, and then we went to twice a week. It looks like that's going to end up through the end of the school year, these numbers, just a reminder, about an extra $75,000. So you have an extra expenditures currently of approximately $125,000. So the net between the savings and the expenditures are right around $455,000 right now in savings. There are some unknowns that I will mention. The unknowns are obviously big ticket items like transportation, because right now New York State Department of Education still hasn't given us guidance on whether or not we should fulfill the balance of our transportation contract, which is approximately $2.6 million from the middle of March through the end of June. So that being said, that's a pretty big number out there right now. That we're really not sure of whether or not the district will have to pay, our transportation provider or not, and then get some state aid, obviously, in the next school year. The other big number, I didn't say big number, the other number out there that we're not unsure of right now, obviously, is whatever we use with BOCES, including transportation with BOCES, and the other coasters that we have with BOCES, that we haven't been able to use, basically from mid-March, right through now the end of the school year.
Okay.
That's what I have. So that was broken down into savings, expenditures, and unknowns.
Okay, can I go back, because I think I misunderstood something. The savings, you said about 580,000.
Correct.
Now that's as of today, or that's expected through the end of the year?
I projected everything right through the end of the year.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. So
June 30th.
Okay, so expected savings through the end of the school year are 580,000. Expenditures was 50,000 as of today, but expected to be about 120.
125.
That's projected to the end of the year.
Correct. So
Okay.
net 455.
Okay. Yep. I had some of those numbers. I needed to make sure they were, full year. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Any questions? No? Okay. I mean, that transportation piece, that's 2.6 million that we expected to pay. So if we don't have to pay that, that's a lot of money that goes back in the pot.
It is. I would remind you that we did about 48% aid on transportation expenditures. So obviously about 1.3 million, just making it 50%, is aid that we would not receive in the next school year, but we also now have 100% of the expenditures. So looking at it that way, I would push at least half of that into next year.
Right. Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for Steve? No? Okay. Lee, did you have anything? You good?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right, 4.02 Policy Committee update. I'll turn that to Mr. Shapiro.
Okay, I think I'm on. Am I on?
You're on.
Okay. On Tuesday, April 28th, fellow board members Don Cairns and Chris Nickpon, Acting Superintendent Lee Weber, the school district's attorney David Shaw, and I met remotely as the policy committee to review policy 6705, a purchasing policy, and policy 8635, which deals with security breach and notification. Both of these policies, along with the regulation for policy 8635, will have a first reading at our next BOE meeting on May 19. The second reading will take place at our June 2nd BOE meeting, with both policies hopefully being adopted on that date. And both of these policies are required to be adopted by July 1st, according to the State Education Department and NISBA and all those parties that tell us what to do, but don't give us the money that we want to have. So that's where we are.
You said it was 6705 and 8635?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Excuse me, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was muted there before for some reason. We've switched computers, so I have a couple of questions for Steve.
Okay, for the finances?
For the budget savings?
Okay, wait, before you go there, just hold on 1 second, Don. I'll give you that in a minute. Let's just make sure, is there anything for policy committee while we're on policy? Is there any questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay, thank you, Mr. Shapiro. Okay, Mr. Cairns, floor is yours.
Okay, Steve, just a couple of questions, maybe not as much in terms of savings, but I was wondering in terms of savings, like for example, for the spring sports, payments for the referees, cost to maintain the athletic fields for games and for the spring period, utility savings, electrical, water, etc. extra pay for staff covering assignments, cafeteria and bus duties, payments for overtime to staff. I don't think there would be any overtime at this point. I'm not really sure. And then spring conference savings, since no one's really going on a conference at this point. I believe you rent the RCC for graduation. I believe that's around $2,400 or so. And also with all of the spring musicals and so forth canceled, are there any savings in terms of, the cost there? There are no class trips for the spring. I was wondering if there's any money in terms of that. Also, I had proposed putting in $25,000 for a marketing committee. I don't believe at this point to be fiscally responsible that I would now take that out. Okay. I would also ask with regard to the roofs. Okay, that basically we postpone anything going on the roofs. If there has to be an emergency, see if you can fix it, but not to get new roofs, because we had a plan and the idea was of putting in the LED lighting and then the following year fix the roofs and put in solar. But if you're going to fix 2 roofs, okay, then just take out the LED lighting if you want, but it just doesn't make sense to have all those expenses at this point.
Okay, so in terms of what Mr. Cairns has asked related to this information item, Steve, do you have any comments or anything to add about any of the closure savings, as Mr. Cairns said, things like electric and
most of those
items and trips and.
Most of those items had been lumped into the 155 that I'd given you.
Okay.
Also, the overtime savings was 75K I had given you.
Okay.
And it's for the 50K, so it came up to 580. The roofs, point taken. It's no longer in our operating budget, as you know. We had moved it out into our capital projects budget, and we're funding it totally with capital reserve. So when the LED project did come into fruition, we would use the savings every year because to refund the capital reserves then, so we could keep moving forward. That was the plan. If we'd like to discuss something different, we certainly can at a later time.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense to do LED lighting, okay, and then do the roofs, because the plan was LED lighting, solar and the roofs, because you can get the roofs done sometimes free of charge, as long as you put the solar in. But to do 2 roofs and then put LED, it doesn't make sense at this point.
Well, just to chime in here, I'd like to hear from the facilities person if we're going to make that decision, because I was under the impression it's an urgent type of repair. So I think we need to get that information. Yeah. I don't know if this is the forum for it now,
it's
but
not.
But
Dr. Nick Bond, no, you're absolutely right. This is not the forum. We will be holding another budget workshop prior to our next board meeting. That would be the appropriate time to.
I'd request Mr. Fama maybe be there too, to maybe answer questions and, shed some light onto the necessity of it.
Right. So I
totally agree. That would be a great idea to find out exactly what the story is with the roofs.
Okay. So let's scale back to what this information item is, which is closure related finances. Any other questions, comments related to the budget as a whole? You can send via email. We could hold for, so that they're addressed at the next budget workshop, but this is not really the forum for that. Okay, is there anything else related to either of the information items that anybody would like to add? Okay. Well, board member comments? Anybody? Don, I'll ask you first because you're the only one I see on my screen.
Okay. I would hopefully ask the people in the community who are listening to this and watching it is that, they look at the budget very carefully for this coming year and, come up with any ideas that they think that we could save some funds. This is a horrible situation in terms of the unemployment that's going on right now. And I think really we have to be, bringing in a budget that is really represents a no increase whatsoever and maybe even below that. Okay, so hopefully the audience will look at it, look at all the different numbers and, come up with some ideas as we could save some, funds.
Okay. Mr. Shapiro, okay, Mr. McKenzie, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Mr. Breen for coming on and doing that presentation for our top 10%. And I wanted to say congratulations to our top 10%. Some very impressive universities that they'll be attending next year. And I just hope that, given the circumstances, that I know this is a little something, but I hope it was something that you guys can look at. Because for me, it was nice to see something positive. You keep hearing about how COVID is affecting different families in our community, people getting sick, people passing away. This was something positive that we had seen, and not just with the 10%ers, but also on our Instagram post where all the children declared their universities that they'll be going to. It put a smile on my face, and I just want to say thank you to all that participated in that, and congratulations to our top 10%.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Reamer, anything?
Of course, I have things to say. Can everybody?
You don't always during board member comments.
Yeah. I just want to say, reiterate both of my fellow board members, congratulations to the top 10%. Really glad that Mr. Breen mentioned for graduation. So many great ideas that came in from people emailing the board and to Mr. Breen. Really great ideas. I was talking to a friend of mine who's from Rockville Center, and they're having their graduation, which I thought was a great idea. They're doing it in November, Thanksgiving week, so that when the kids are back from college and the kids haven't left for Thanksgiving vacation yet, they're doing their graduation that week so that they can make sure that everybody's back in town. They're also putting out signs and pictures of the kids who are graduating from their high school, and they're putting it on the main road like they would do it on 59 or something, and making sure that, I know how I feel as a mom, and I've been waiting my whole life, my kids' whole life to watch them in cap and gown and getting their high school diploma and having that experience and them having that experience, and you want them to go to prom and all of that. And I don't want anybody to miss that. So I'm glad that some of these things are getting planned and really thought about, and some of these parents have great ideas. The other board member, Don, was talking about the tax increase. Look, I'm one of the board members here that, we're having a tough time, and I talk about our older community members that are on fixed incomes. And now it's not just people on fixed incomes. We have huge unemployment rates and took hours to register for unemployment. And I don't think that the tax rate should be 1% or 1.75%. I think it should be in negative territory. I think it should be negative 1%. We have to make up for the assessed values going in a range where it's going to give us a tax increase. We have to think about our residents, both on fixed incomes and not on fixed incomes, who are going to get priced out of their homes. So we have to think about all kinds of things within this budget, and that we have to keep it in negative territory. And and I'm open and honest about everything. And, you know, there are people who are furloughed. There are people who lost their jobs, who lost their businesses. This is not a time to have a tax increase. This is not a time to go willy-nilly with taxpayers' money. This is a time that we have $20 million sitting in certiaries. We have $30 million sitting in different reserves. This is not a time that, you know, a couple of months ago, we were talking about let's increase the pre-K program. And I think it's a great program. But for right now, we have to think about tightening our belts and thinking about our taxpayers and what we can do to save our taxpayers money. There's 2.6 that we saved in busing. Oh, right there, that's 2.6 million that we don't even have to use from our reserves. That's great, you know, and stuff like that. So if we think about things that we don't need to do and make sure that we're thinking of every single thing, and the next budget meeting that we have, we need to make sure that we're raising tuition rates in the budget. And not having our outside tuition be less than what the taxpayers are paying for taxes. We need to make sure that we're thinking about our taxpayers, because right now I would have to sell my house. You know, I can't afford the taxes here. I would have to go and I would have to move to Mawa and pay for my child to go her final year in high school. And I don't want that happening to me. I don't want that happening to my neighbors next door. I want everybody to be able to live in their homes. You know, I like working in my office, and I may not be able to do that. So I want everybody to be able to stay in their homes and sleep in their beds and be comfortable. So I want to make sure that we're using the reserves, and it's really selfish, but I paid into those reserves. I want to make sure that I get to stay in my home and use those reserves and save my home. So that's how I feel. Let's do our work, roll up our sleeves. I'm available. I'll work on it. You tell me to go in and I'll work with Steve and I'll work with Teresa, and I would go in at 2:00 in the morning. That's what I did at the town of Ramapo. You can ask anybody. I went there, I worked all night long to work on the budget. And I would do it here. So I'm ready. That's it.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Dr. Nick Pond, anything that you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'd like to just offer my congratulations to the top 10%. Very impressive to see that. Very hopeful that they have success in college and through their programs of study. Can't help but give a shout out to my alma mater that was on one of the screens, Albany Med. Nice to see that person in the program through Union College. I was actually in the Siena Albany Med program, so 8-year program. So it was nice to see that represented as well. But again, congratulations to everyone. Best of luck and thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Donnelly, anything to add? You're either on mute. All right, Mr. Shapiro, anything?
Mute, yes, okay, I'm on. As everyone has said, congratulations to the Suffern top 10%, some outstanding schools listed, and I'm sure that there were many students who were not in the top 10% who have also been accepted to some outstanding schools as well. We wish you the best in the future, and we certainly hope that you don't make what you're going through now something that's going to really take away from your future, because your future is completely open. No one has a crystal ball, but let's hope for all the good things that are going to be coming to all of the seniors as they progress through their 4 and in one case an 8-year program. But it's really terrific to see our students, reap all of the the benefits of working hard in in school. And a shout out to Pat Breen for doing a terrific job and getting all of the information from the Suffern High School Guidance Department. It's great to have Melissa back. I'll say that. You've been missed. And to all of my colleagues, I just hope we can all stay healthy. And I also hope that as the days progress and the weather changes, that we still use our common sense, not just us, because I have complete faith in us, but to all of the citizens of the Suffern School District, that we continue to do the right thing. And let's hope that all of those scientists and medical people come up with with all of the right vaccines to take care of what we're going through right now. So stay healthy and stay safe.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Donnelly, I'll give you another chance. See, I can't even see him on my screen, so I don't know if he's muted. I don't know where he is. I'll just say for me, as everybody has said, and you can say it 1,000 times, congrats to the top 10%. Everything you've accomplished, and don't let this blip in your life define you. Thank you, Pat Breen, for putting that together. And I just want to add that we will be having another budget workshop prior to our next board meeting, which is on May 19th. The date of that workshop is yet to be determined. I think we're trying to wait just to get some more information from the state. So we're going to try to wait as long as we can before having that workshop so we can have the best numbers possible. Considering that on the 19th, we will be looking to approve the budget as a board. That's all I have. So we'll move to public participation for non-action items. This would be public participation for any district-related matters. As with the prior segment, we asked the public to submit anything in writing that they wanted to be read. So Heather, I don't know if you have anything at this point.
I don't know.
No. Okay. All right. So I'll close this portion and move to closing comments. Acting Superintendent.
I too want to end my congratulations to our top 10%. It's been a pleasure to watch you grow and learn and perform and see the incredible work you've done and the really tremendous example you have set for all of our other students. So I wish you all the best as you move on. I also want to recognize that this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. Our teachers have adjusted to this new reality in just an amazing way, quickly adapting, innovating, and really showing our students how much they care about them. Tomorrow is Nurses Appreciation Day. Again, another group of our professionals who just always go above and beyond. Many of our nurses have been working throughout the crisis, either volunteering their services at the Department of Health, working at clinics and in other places where they can put their nursing abilities to use. We have several of our nurses who've worked at the child care sites in the eastern part of the county that have been set up in the schools, as well as at various other locations, and even in some cases going out on our buses that are delivering the food just to check on the health needs in the community. So very appreciative of that group as well. I will be hosting a Facebook Live later this week to talk about all the different things going on. I anticipate that is most likely going to be Thursday night. But we will, I'll verify that. We'll send that out on social media. I also just want to mention the budget vote. So part of Friday's executive order confirmed that the budget vote will be on June 9th It was originally scheduled for May 19th. It'll now be on June 9th, entirely by absentee ballot. So every registered voter in the community will receive a ballot to their home and have the opportunity to vote for the budget that way. The ballots do need to be received, not postmarked, but received by 5 p.m. on June 9th. As part of that process, we also have the board elections. So candidates who are interested in running for the board, the traditional petition signing, gathering the petition signatures has been waived, but interested candidates do need to notify the district clerk or the election clerk by, sorry, my laptop's about to die. Interested candidates do need to notify us by Monday, May 11th. I look forward to next week's budget workshop. So as soon as the board comes up with a date for that, we will work around that. As Mr. Kern mentioned, we are looking to do that as late in the week as possible. Again, so if there's any more information, we'll have that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, at this time, I would make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a motion? Mr. McKenzie, do I have a second?
Wait a second. I think that they still have to hand in a petition with a signature, but with no signatures.
There's a form that they can fill out. We actually have it at Hilburn, but they just basically have to declare their candidacy and indicate that they have met the requirements. They're a resident, they're over 18, they can read and write.
There's still a form that they have to sign to say that they are a candidate, but they don't have to hand in any signatures so they don't have to hand in petitions per se with signatures, but they still have to hand in a form with their signature on it.
We have forms available at Hilburn, and they can notify, when they notify the election clerk, he will follow up with them about what they need to do.
Okay.
Okay. Motion to adjourn, Mr. McKenzie, I had a first from you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Reamer? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a great week, and as